this forward a little bit. All right, guys, welcome to Core Prep on a rainy Sunday afternoon, at least here in Wisconsin. Today we're going to go through a couple different things. We're going to actually combine a couple motions today. So as we go through this, again, just go to the positions that you feel comfortable, that you have no pain, no discomfort, but I also want you to tune in and see whether or not you feel like you have some asymmetric motions right to left. All right. And as we go back through at the end, we'll give a couple different exercises of choices that you can do based on whether you were limited or didn't feel as good or something felt a little tighter, versus an exercise that if it felt really good, you could just go through the repetition. So as we move through, I'll continue to walk you through the paces. Again, we're gonna stick with the basics of all the different orientations to gravity, from standing to seated to sideline to prone and also supine, and see how things change based on your orientation. Now, again, make sure that you're going to the ranges that you can control, not necessarily the ranges that I'm going through. I may have a more limited range based on my availability and based on what I can do versus what you guys can. So don't compare yourself to me as we go through this. Compare yourself to yourself right to left. All right. So today we're going to go through some rotation and flexion. Again, go to where you feel comfortable and what feels good to you. And if one side feels a little bit better than the other, just take a mental note of that. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to stand about feet shoulder width apart, hands on top of the shoulders here. And from here, I'm going to have you rotate to your left. Now, when you rotate to your left, you should notice that there's going to come a point in that rotation where you're either going to hit a brick wall, right? Like for me is about right here. Now I could go further, but if I go further, my pelvis is going to come with me. And you're going to notice how, as I rotate left, this right foot is going to basically pronate, or the arch is going to flatten out. And you're going to feel how the left foot, like the arch starts to get a little bigger and you're going to supinate a little more. I don't want you to go that far. So what I really am concentrating on is trying to get that upper half separated from the lower half. So if you start to feel your feet move, or you start to feel your pelvis start to rotate with you, you've gone too far. Okay. So just going to the left, going down as far as you can. And now if I go any further, I start to feel how things want to shift. So I'm going to go to the left, and then from here, I'm going to crunch down. Okay. So I want you to feel like it's like an accordion. So we're not bending at the hip. So you didn't see my butt fly out. I'm going to rotate, crunch. Notice how my back, like if I'm standing sideways, you can see I'm just crunching down this way, and I'm rounding my back as I crunch. I'm not letting my butt fly out, and I'm not bending at the hip to get any motion. Okay. There's not a ton of motion in this. So rotate, crunch, back up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. We're just going to check this 5 or 6 times. It's nice and easy. Shouldn't be super taxing. Good. Let's go one more. Perfect. Now let's go to the right. Right side, crunch. Right side, crunch. Looking for the same amount of rotation on both sides, as well as the same amount of crunch on both sides. Let's get one more. Back to neutral. Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to have you do next is we're going to have a seat. If you've got a chair, use a chair, whatever's most comfortable to you. All right. I got the ground, but I got a mat, so it's a little more comfy than just the ground. Feet out in front, hands on top again. This time we're going to rotate to the left. Again, only with the trunk. So you shouldn't feel, as I rotate to the left, my right butt cheek shouldn't start coming off the ground or off my chair. Okay, if that's happening, your pelvis is starting to go with, and we're not getting true rotation through the spine. We're getting some rotation with some pelvic motion as well. We're trying to separate the two, so really concentrate on not allowing that to happen. We're rotating, crunching, bring it back up, rotate back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, back up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, back up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, back up, back to neutral. One more time. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Next, we're going to go to the right side, crunch, up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Awesome. So let's go sideline, okay? So I'm gonna lay down on my left side to start with. I want my hand kind of right here next to my pelvis, my knees bent 90 degrees, my hips about 45. So here's what we want. This one's gonna be a little tougher. I'm gonna bring my left hand up next to my shoulder, because as I rotate up, I'm going to slowly crunch, bring it back, and relax. Okay, so you have to try to maintain bringing those legs up. If you can't, all right, and this is too difficult, then the intention of you rotating or pushing the legs up is okay. So if I think about it, I can still contract and I can feel it, the contraction in my trunk. So I try to contract and then I'm down and back up. Okay, so let's try it. Depending on what's easier for you right now, let's start off with the up and back and then relax. If that's too difficult, here's what it looks like to do the other. So I'm gonna think about pushing my legs up. I'm gonna contract, bring it back, and then relax, okay? So let's get a couple more of these. Up, contract, neutral, back. Contract, back. One more. Contract, crunch, back, relax. Awesome. Let's flip over the other side. All right, knees bent again, hips bent again. I'm gonna use my left hand to kind of push up, arm across. So again, if you can't do the leg separation with the crunch, just the intention of doing so is fine, okay? So up, crunch, back, down, up, crunch, back, down, up, crunch, back, down, up, crunch, back, down. Perfect. Let's flip over, okay? We're gonna go supine position. What I'm gonna have you do, okay, is our feet are together, knees are together. I'm gonna have you notice how my legs are rocking back and forth. So if I rock my legs ever so slightly, my pelvis is gonna kind of go with it. So you're gonna start to feel how my left, if I go left, my right butt cheek kind of comes off the ground, okay? This is right rotation, all right? So legs are this way, pelvis is still, so as I rotate here, trunk is this way, pelvis is this way, okay? I'm in right rotation from here. We're just gonna crunch up, back down, bring the legs back to neutral. Rotate over so ever so slightly. Now we're in right rotation again. Crunch up, back to neutral, and back. Rotate over, crunch up, back, bring the legs back. Two more of these. Rotate, crunch, back, back to neutral. One more. Rotate over, crunch, back, back to neutral. Now, Next one, we're going to rotate to the right. So we're now in left trunk rotation. I'm going to crunch up, little pause, back, and I'm going to bring my legs straight back to the center. Rotate over slightly, crunch, back, back to neutral, rotate, crunch, back, back to neutral. 2 more of these, rotate, crunch, back, back to neutral. 1 more, rotate, crunch, back, back to neutral. Perfect. All right, so prone. We're going to get on all fours. This is going to make it a little easier. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to bring it across onto my opposite shoulder. Okay, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. Okay, so I'm going to rotate my trunk, and then I'm going to crunch down. I'm going to come up. I'm going to rotate back so that my chest is parallel to the floor. I'm going to rotate, crunch, up, back up. Rotate, crunch, back, back up. Rotate, crunch, back, back up. Rotate, crunch, back, back up. Switch arms, okay? I'm going to bring my right arm across onto my left shoulder. I'm going to rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, up, back to neutral. 2 more. Rotate, crunch, back to neutral. Rotate, crunch, back to neutral. Perfect. All right. So we went through all the positions. So here's what we got for the first exercise. First exercise is going to be, if you were limited, so let's say going to the left side didn't feel as good as going to the right side, okay? So all I'm gonna have you do is, you're gonna go and you're gonna rotate to the left, you're gonna crunch, and as you crunch, I want you to breathe all the way out as far as you can in the crunch. And then you're going to bring it back up. And you're going to, as you come up, I want you to inhale through the nose and then blow out as much as you can. That's if you were limited on either right or left rotation with flexion. Okay. So let's go over that again. If you were limited, if you weren't limited, don't listen to this. If you were limited, something didn't feel as good right to left, go to the side that you didn't feel as good. So we're going to rotate to the side you didn't feel as good. Okay. And I want you to blow all the air out of your lungs into flexion. And then on the way up, breathe in really deep through your nose and go back through and blow out. I want you to go through 4 or 5 repetitions only on the side that you didn't feel as good on. Cool? Now, the side that you did feel good on, or if you felt good on both sides, we're going to now take our plate, dumbbell, whatever you got. I've got a dumbbell, and we're going to rotate. And as I rotate, again, my pelvis doesn't go with me. I'm going to rotate, and I'm just going to push the dumbbell or the plate out. Now, because I'm pushing it out, this plate or this weight wants to go this way, right? So it's pulling me into that flexion. That's what I want to really counteract that. So I'm here and I'm pushing and then I'm relaxing and back. Here, pushing, back. Rotate, push. We're going to hit about 15 of these. Rotate, push, back. Rotate, push, back. Rotate, push, back. Rotate, push, back. It's Get a couple more. Push, back, rotate, push, back. Good. Now we got to hit the other side. Okay. Rotate, push, rotate, push, push, rotate, push, rotate, push, push. There we go. Keep working. Get about 5 more. Perfect. All right. Let's go seated. So, doesn't change. All right. Seated. If I felt a little funky going to the left with flexion, then I'm going to go to the left. I'm going to blow all my air out. In through my nose. All the way up. Tall spine, crunched it over as I blow out. I'm going to do 4 to 5 reps on the side that I didn't feel equal to. So if I felt a little more limited or felt a little janky or felt a little tight, that's what I want you to do on the side that didn't feel as good. Okay. If both sides felt really good, then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sit up tall. We're going to rotate. We're going to press out and we're going to bring it back. Okay. We're going to do 15 of those on each side. If you were limited going to the left, for example, you'll do your 4 to 5 blows, right? In and out. And then on the other side, you're going to pick up your plate or your dumbbell, or if you can't handle that, your arms will do. Okay. And you're going to do 15 reps on the side that felt good. Okay. So let's just go through that. Rotate and back. There we go. About 5. About 5 more here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. All right. Take a little break for a second. Back at the chest. Rotate to the right this time. Out. Out. That's 12. Let's get 3 more. Perfect. All right. So let's go sideline. So here's what I want. If you couldn't get your legs off the ground, you're going to try to slightly bring the legs off the ground. So not all the way up, slightly try to bring them up. And I want you to go through crunches, trying to keep those legs up, back and forth. Okay. We're going to get 5 to 8 of those if one side didn't feel as good as the other. Okay. So breathe into them, down, up, down, up. So it's either the intention of lifting the legs and going through crunches, or slightly lifting the legs as much as you can and going through those crunches. Just 5 to 8 reps. on the side that felt not as strong. Okay. If you were able to go through both sides and it felt okay and it felt tough, great. Um, as long as it felt tough equally on both sides, we're going to try to maintain that rotation as best we can, arms across the chest, and we're going to go through 12 to 15 crunches, just like this. Get 3. Perfect. Good. All right, I'm going to flip over to the other side. Same rule applies. This side was a little bit more difficult for you, then try to either slightly bring the legs up or the intention of bringing them up and keeping that intention there and going through your crunches. If it felt pretty good, try to get that rotation, try to maintain it, and let's just go through our crunches. Up. Trying to get 12 to 15 of these. Perfect. All right. Let's flip over on the back. Okay. So if you had a more difficult time with this one, you felt one side was a little easier than the other, the side that was more difficult, I'm going to have you slightly rotate, and all you're going to do is lift up. And as you lift up, I want you to blow out all the air. And then on the way down, I want you to breathe in nice and deep through the nose and then out through the mouth again, in that straight up with the knees rotated right or left. So let's assume right now that everybody's going to go to the left. If you were limited with your legs to the left coming straight up, or it was tougher than the right, your exercise is blowing all the way out, breathing through the nose as you come down, blowing all the way out, breathing through the nose. You got 5 reps of that. Okay. Take your time. If you're somebody that's feeling lightheaded, we don't want you to hyperventilate during this. Okay. If it felt pretty good for you to be able to do the legs to the right, here's what we're going to do with you guys. You're going to bring your feet up, rotate to the left just a little, arms across, and we're going to go up and we're going to do 12 to 15 reps of good crunches. So up as high as you can, back down, up, back down. Perfect. Bring them back, relax for a second. Same thing as we go to the right. If this side was a little tougher, you're going to blow out on the way up and then in through the nose on the way down. Okay. If it didn't and it felt good, feet up, rotate slightly over to the right. We got 12 to 15 crunches. Up. And let's start. and relax. Perfect. All right, let's flip over. Okay, two separate things. So if we're on all fours, the first one we started with was our left hand on our right shoulder. Remember, we rotated and crunched. So if that was the position on you that felt a little funkier than the other side or was tougher, you've got your rotation, and then I want you to breathe all the way out through your mouth, everything you got, and then just straight up through the nose. So you're just lifting straight up. We're not rotating back, just straight up through the nose, and then blow out through the mouth, and then in through the nose, out through the mouth. You got 5 of those repetitions. If this side if us rotating to the right, if this felt pretty good for you, then you're going to go here. We're going to rotate, and we're just going to go crunch as far as we can, all the way up. Crunch as far as we can, all the way up. We're going to hit 12 to 15 reps of this. Perfect. So let's switch it up. All right. So I'm going to bring my right arm across. If this side was tougher for you, again, as you go down, I want you to blow all the air out through the mouth. Suck in all the air through your nose up here, and then back down. You got 5 of those reps. If this felt okay for you, then we're just crunching 12 to 15 reps. Okay, here we go. This is 9. Perfect. All right, now we can stand up. Now that we went through all those, here's where you have the choice. You could go back through that another time. You could go back through it 2 more times, and then go back and reassess your range. Remember at the beginning, going through just, hey, how does it feel? Rotate, crunch, rotate, crunch, seated, rotate, crunch. See how it feels. If you don't feel like you got enough going through just that, I'm not gonna go back through the range because I know you guys can go back through that. This will give you the opportunity, if you want to cycle back through those exercises a couple times. Now, you might actually want to go through the range 1 or 2 times at each position, because as we went through that, maybe your range opened up a little bit, and now that side that felt a little funky doesn't feel funky anymore. So instead of doing the deep breaths into those motions, now you do the 12 to 15 reps or maybe 20 reps, and going back and seeing how it feels after you do that. Okay. You know that the deep breaths, probably, if you've gone through this, have probably helped your range a little bit. So see what it's like to go back through. And if you go through the repetitions, if you maintain that range and that new feeling, or if it leaves, maybe it was a little too much, maybe you did a few too many reps. Don't get caught up in the 12 to 15. If you can only do 8, do 8. If you can go and do 20, do 20. All right. This is where this whole thing is going, is just really dialing into your own body, making sure that you see, like, maybe one side you're able to do 15, maybe the other side you're able to do 8. Doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It just means that, hey, this side isn't quite as strong or up to par with the other. Okay. And we want to work on those things. So I hope you guys enjoyed core prep today. I know it was a little early, but we'll try to figure out the best time that works for everybody, whether it's later, whether it's earlier. I'm glad you guys tuned in today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you missed this, don't worry. We'll get this uploaded to our YouTube channel. That's Body Activation LLC. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, go and click that button subscribe. You'll get updated notifications on when we post videos, which is usually continually every day. And until next time, guys, I will see you guys next Tuesday for or for upper body prep.